The last few trading weeks have been amazing. I would open up a trade in the evening, go to sleep, and wake up to profits. Then the next evening, I would open up another trade and wake up to even more profits. Totally surreal. And especially surreal because when I first started trading 13 years ago, I've been told that the real money is made only within the first hour of the market open. And for the longest time, I believed I had to be glued to the screen at the open, otherwise I would miss the only move that matters. But you know what? After getting chopped up in the morning noise and watching a few accounts hit zero, I've had enough. And I realized one thing. Most of what retail traders are taught about the open is a lie. And here's the truth most educators won't tell you. The biggest, most structured, and perfect moves don't form during the chaos of the open. They form while we're sleeping. While most beginner traders are chasing big volatile candles right at the open, the market is quietly building high probability structure between the close and the next morning, overnight. And there is something about the overnight session most traders never noticed. And once you see it, you will never be able to unsee it again. And you know what's crazy? Once I stopped listening to everyone else and stopped chasing the chaos and started focusing on clean overnight setups, my trading went from constant guessing to a simple, repeatable framework. And today I'm showing you how to catch these overnight moves with something I call the Midnight Madness strategy. It's stupid simple, repeatable, and beginner friendly, and is designed to take advantage of these overnight moves. Let's get started. But before we get into the 3-step framework, let me show you something most traders never notice. Because once you see it, you will understand why the overnight setups are so powerful. Let's take a look at this chart. This right here is the S&P 500 ES futures and the 1-hour chart. And the black area right here represents the US equity trading hours, which happens from 9:30 a.m. Eastern to 4 p.m. Eastern. This is where the most trading volume happens. And the gray area represents everything that happens after hours, between 4 p.m. and 9:30 a.m. the next day. Now take a look at this. During the US trading session, you see a lot of wicks on the top, bottom, big red candle followed by a green candle, a lot of wicks on the bottom again, red, green, a bunch of choppiness. The price is basically jumping around. The reason that happens is because the market is reacting to everything that happened overnight. Orders are getting filled, stops are getting triggered, positions are being adjusted. There are no clean directional moves. Now let's take a look what happens after the close and before the next day open. As we can see, we have a very nice clean directional move down, followed by another move up and another move down. This is a very clean price action and exactly what I want to see when I'm in a trade. This is a controlled movement and clean structure. And this structure matters because while most traders are waiting for the bell, the market is already active around the world. Asia is trading, Europe is trading, and institutions are positioning. So the open isn't where structure forms. That happens overnight. Now, this is something I specifically trade on the Nasdaq and the S&P 500 futures because these markets are open almost 24 hours per day and they have a lot of liquidity during the overnight session. And I've been trading these markets for more than 10 years and they tend to have a very clean structure overnight. So, what exactly is the first step of our process? The first step is finding liquidity areas where the market is most likely to react. And I used to skip that step a lot early in my trading career. I believed patterns and candles are enough to figure out the next move. But guess what? That belief kept me on the wrong side of the market for 3 straight years. Because price doesn't just reverse randomly. It reverses where liquidity sits. And these are areas where a lot of orders are sitting and institutional traders are most likely ready to step in. Typically, these are the previous highs and lows from higher time frames. So to mark these areas, I like using the 1-hour time frame, and most of the time, the highs and lows are matching actually with the highs and lows from the daily chart, which is why these areas are so important liquidity zones. Now, when it comes to drawing these lines, I like keeping things simple. I don't want to map my entire chart with lines. All I'm doing is looking for the 2 most recent highs and 2 most recent lows on the 1-hour chart. These are usually the areas where liquidity builds and most likely the market is going to reverse. So when you open up your 1-hour chart, zoom out and look to the left and see where is the previous low. This is exactly what I'm going to do right here on this chart, which is the NQ futures. As we can see, this right here is a previous low, which is why I'm going to mark a line. Now I want to mark one more low, which is why I'm going to zoom further and see where is the next previous low. As we can see to the left, this was another low right here, which is why I'm going to draw another line just like that. Now let's do the same on the upper end. As we can see, this right here was a high. And if you look further back, this right here is another high, which is why I'm going to draw another line just like that. Now we marked our liquidity areas on the 1-hour chart. And so the next step, step number 2, is waiting. What we're waiting for is the price to reach one of these liquidity areas in our overnight session after the market closes. And honestly, this step turns out to be the hardest for most people, including me at the beginning, because I thought being active equals being profitable. But it's the exact other way around. I can't tell you how many times I rushed the process, entered too early, got stopped out, and then when the real nice setup happened, I was too burned out and too scared to enter. And after enough losses, I eventually learned one thing. The middle of the range is where most traders donate money to the market. Professional traders aren't interested in the middle. They're interested in liquidity. So we only want to trade when the price reaches one of these zones. And in a moment, I will show you why these areas are so important. So here are the basic rules. If the price moves down after the US equity close and reaches one of the 2 zones that we marked, I'm only looking to buy. If the price moves up after the close and reaches one of the upper zones that we marked, I'm only looking to sell. So sell at the upper lines and buy at the lower lines. And the reason for that is extremely simple. Markets tend to move from liquidity to liquidity area. Let me show you what I mean. When the price pushes into these previous zones, like right here, this is where sell stops and liquidity are sitting. Once these stops are taken, the market usually finds buyers and the price starts reversing in the opposite direction, to the upside. And this is the reason why these zones act like magnets for price. Now let's replay and see what happens around these 2 zones. As we can see, the market broke through our first zone that we drew and went straight to the second area. So what does that tell us? Obviously, there were not enough buy orders and not enough liquidity sitting around the first zone, which is why the market continued further lower, looking for more orders and more liquidity at the next possible zone. And this is also the reason why we want to always focus on 2 liquidity areas, because if the first one breaks or there are not enough orders, the next one is going to be tested. Now, as we can see here, there was enough liquidity created because the market flipped and reversed straight to the upside and went straight into the upper lines that we drew. Now, around this upper area, there are a lot of stops sitting, and amateur traders would normally start chasing breakouts there. But once these stops get triggered, the market runs out of buyers and the price starts to reverse again. Now, here is the most important part. We're not blindly buying or selling once the price touches one of these areas. What we want to do is we want to wait for confirmation. And that is going to show us when the market is ready to reverse, which leads me to our step number 3, waiting for confirmation. Now, let me tell you, I used to mess up that step a lot. I would jump into a trade as soon as the price touched one of these areas. And I can't tell you how many times I got slaughtered doing that. The price would hit my level and then I would start looking for confirmation using the 1-minute chart, which is extremely choppy and unreliable. And I would rush into a trade thinking I caught the earliest and best entry possible. But then the market would push through that zone one more time, stop me out, and then reverse. Totally frustrating. So over time, I learned one more thing. I wait for confirmation and I want to see that this zone is running out of steam and out of momentum. And for that, I use the 1-hour chart. Let's take a look. If the price is dropping into one of the lower zones, you will often see 3 to 5 red candles in a row straight into that area. This is an emotional move, just like this one. Retail traders are putting stop losses here, and these stops are getting triggered, and this is how liquidity is created. And this is also the moment when the move starts to exhaust itself. So what we're waiting for is something I call the pitchfork candlestick formation. This is a candle that shows the market is rejecting that level. If the price pushes into one of these zones and we see our emotional move, what we want to see next is one green candlestick first. This is signaling that buyers are absorbing the selling pressure. Once we have our first green candlestick, the entry happens as soon as the price starts pushing above the high of that candle. And the stop loss can be placed slightly below. Now, that rejection tells us something important. The liquidity has been taken and the market is ready to reverse in the opposite direction. And it works the exact same way in reverse. If the price pushes toward the upper zones, what we want to see in a perfect world is 3 to 5 green candlesticks in a row, which shows us that this is an emotional move. In this case, we want to be selling, and our confirmation happens as soon as we see one red candlestick first. The entry happens as soon as the next candlestick starts pushing below the low of that first red candle. And the stop loss can be placed slightly above. Now let me show you how that looks like in real time on a trade that I recently took live in our trading community. This right here is the S&P 500 futures, the ES, and the 1-hour chart. So in our step number 1, we want to mark our liquidity areas. For that, we're going to stay on the 1-hour chart. What we want to do is we want to zoom out and find the recent 2 previous highs and lows. As we can see, this right here was a previous high, which is why I'm drawing a line. Now I'm going to zoom out and see if I can find one more high. As we can see all the way back here, I see one more high, which is why I'm marking that as a potential liquidity area as well. Now that I have my upper zones, I'm going to look down and see where is the previous low. And as we can see in this case, that right here is a previous low, and we see one more low right here, which is why I'm going to mark that as well. Now, remember our rules, they're extremely simple. What we want to do is we want to wait for the price to reach one of these zones. So if the price reaches one of the upper zones, I'm looking to sell. But if the price reaches one of these lower zones, I'm looking to buy. Now, right before the close, I see that the market pushed slightly through that area, and I see a nice red candlestick with a wick on the top, indicating that that move is getting exhausted and we might see a potential reversal. Now, because the market is about to close, I want to prepare and open a trade as soon as the price starts going below the low of this red candlestick, our pitchfork, and the stop loss will be placed slightly above. As we can see, the price triggered my order and I'm in that trade, and everything that we see here happens after hours. And so my stop loss is right above, my take profit is around this cluster here, because I assume that there are going to be a bunch of orders sitting, which is why I want to take my profits around this zone. And as we can see, my take profit was triggered, and this was an outstanding trade. But we see that we're now reaching the lower zones. And so we see also that we have our emotional move, a bunch of red candlesticks straight into the lower part of the range. Now, before I go to sleep, I'm going to see if I see one more setup forming. And for that, I want to see one green candlestick and the price going above it. Let's replay and see what happens. Now, as we can see right here, we had one green candlestick, but the price never went above it. What I observe though is that we have a bunch of wicks around this area. So all these dips are getting bought up. This indicates that there are buyers stepping in, and the move to the downside is getting exhausted, and we might see potentially a reversal here. So now that I have this green candlestick here, I want to see if the next candle goes above the high of this one. And if that happens, I'm going to enter a long trade with stop slightly below here with a little more room. As we can see, my entry got triggered and my stop loss is here slightly underneath. The reason for that is because I see a little bit back and forth price action between these zones, and sometimes it's worth to take smaller size but leave your stop loss a little wider so that you don't get stopped out for no reason, especially when you see a little more volatility around these two areas like in this example. Now I'm going to replay and see what happens next. As we can see, my take profit was hit, and this was another great trade. Now, of course, you're not going to get everyday easy trades like that. And of course, there's more to that than just the zones and the candles. Things like market cycles, context, the big picture play a huge role as well. And this is something I'm not covering in this video, but something we're discussing each day live in our trading community. So if you want to trade live with us, I'm going to leave the link in the description below. And if you want to have an exact map with the most important liquidity areas and trading plan each week, feel free to check out our weekly gains guide. I'm going to put the link in the description as well. I hope this video helped you to understand how to use the overnight strategy, and I cannot wait to see you back here on our channel again. Bye for now.